And
Todd.live here, sitting in for Owen Video. Look, you've got a ton of content, an arsenal of videos at your fingertips, and you need more visitors to your live stream. Start using those videos to boost your live show. Today, our guest is Amanda Bond. She is going to share gems that you have at your fingertips, how to use pre-recorded videos along with having an ad strategy before you even pay for one single ad. Stay tuned. It's BeLive Weekly.
hey, Todd.
Yeah,
it's Jax here. We're having some technical issues with our.
Are we live right at the moment?
No, we're live. I
Cool.
didn't want you to stand there.
Well, I thought there was going to be an intro. I'm trying to. Okay, folks, we are having some technical difficulties today on this show. Plus, it's kind of a new thing to have for me to be a guest speaker or a guest host on another show. I don't ordinarily use BeLive, so we're kind of a trial and error period here. But thank you for hanging in there. So anyway, welcome back to BeLive Weekly, where we keep you up to date on expert tips, tricks, and tactics on how to grow your Facebook live show. Just type 5 in the comments now if you're watching on Facebook. Anyway, we're super excited today. We have Amanda Bond here, and she's going to share with us a lot of great insight on doing this on Facebook, getting more attention on your live videos with an ad strategy and with your pre-recorded videos. But first, we're going to talk about the question of the day. Okay. Now, the question of the day is Coke or Pepsi? And this is a favorite topic of mine on Instagram stories, on when I used to do Snapchat. I used to love to talk about Coke versus Pepsi on a semi-regular basis because people, kind of get rooted in. I mean, you go and you sit down in a restaurant, you order a Diet Coke, and they say, "I'm sorry, sir, we only serve Pepsi. Would that be okay?" Well, it's never okay, right? But you just got to do it anyway. And there's one thing you've never heard on this planet that's never been spoken, and that somebody goes in and orders a Pepsi and they say, "I'm sorry, sir, we only serve Coke." That's never happened. So which do you prefer, Coke or Pepsi? And let me tell you something, folks. Through the years that I've been doing social media and doing video, the conversation that a Coke versus Pepsi rant can have on Instagram stories, on Snapchat is amazing. People really love to share their thoughts on the Coke versus Pepsi debate. So, which do you like? Feel free to leave that in the comments below. And I'm trying to monitor them. Again, I am not ordinarily a BeLive user, so I'm trying to monitor what's going on. I see we've got Chris Strubb joining in. We've got Freddie Moreno. Thank you guys for being here. Feel free to leave a comment and say hello, and I'll try to do some shout outs. Let's talk about the show sponsor, the Live Video Gear Guide. Today's show is brought to you by Livestream Gear Guides, the best budget gear to grow your live stream. And this week's share sponsor is a company called Animal Facts. Their mission is to entertain their audience with fun and fascinating facts about the many amazing animals that live on the planet with us. You can find them at Animal Facts US. I'll spell that because it sounds animal, ANIMAL, fact, and then SUS. So facts, I guess, US. Animalfacts.us. They're on YouTube as well. So today is, you feel like you're watching an Owen Hemseth cover band classic. I feel like a cover band that I'm out on the stage for the first time for a song I haven't rehearsed yet. So anyway, Amanda Bond. Amanda Bond is the owner of The Ad Strategist and the creator of Strategy, the Strategy System. Entrepreneur Magazine calls her a Facebook advertising genius due to her unique mix of creativity and her vast analytical experience. From analyzing hundreds of millions of client ad impressions A fiery personality, Bond mixes education and entertainment in a straight shooting way to show people the right way to do Facebook advertising. She's the official Facebook advertising news correspondent for Social Media Examiner and a HubSpot Academy instructor. Let's give a nice, warm welcome to Amanda Bond. Amanda, welcome. How are you today?
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me on the show. And fun fact, I have to answer the Coke versus Pepsi debacle. I used to work for PepsiCo. So does that bias my answer?
Well, it makes me feel bad because I'll drink it, but it's like, no, no one's ever said that. I really want a Pepsi and they say, I'm sorry, we only serve Coke products. But it goes the other way around, 10 billion times a day in restaurants across the globe?
Definitely.
It's crazy.
This was my preference. I liked Diet Coke in a can. I liked Pepsi in a bottle, and I liked rum and Coke as a drink. That was how I liked them mixed in together. But don't tell my old employer that.
Well, I'm with you. And like I said, it's palatable, but I get a lot of mileage on social media. People love it. When you go in a restaurant and, you're doing your Instagram stories and you flash the Pepsi thing and it's Pepsi again, and have a little rant. It's amazing how much return you get as far as people corresponding back to you on video and text, just, either sympathizing or providing their slice of the, or their opinion or, their take on it. It's just fluff. I always say fluff sells, and that's fluff. It's meaningless to the big picture, but people are entertained by it.
Yeah, people love to share their opinion on social media. I actually think it's a brilliant way to engage your audience because a lot of people use social media as this broadcast platform to just share information about themselves, but we shouldn't think of it that way. We should really engage our audience, whether it's fluff like learning what is your preference, Pepsi versus Coke, or just asking more in-depth questions to really raise your engagement rates, whether you're on Insta, Facebook, Twitter, because all of those people can then be retargeted with Facebook ads. Guys, come on.
Absolutely.
Our engagement is retargetable. So why wouldn't we want to get more engagement on our videos by asking really fun questions? No brainer.
Yeah, I'm with you. So let's just get right to it. Just starting out of the gate, when does somebody need an ad strategy?
Oh, great question. It's such a good one because I see this happening all the time. I'll see it in Facebook groups and people say, I'm about to launch my product tomorrow. Should I start writing Facebook ads? I just came up with this new offer and I've sold 3. What should I do to get started? Should I spend $20 tomorrow? Well, the answer is you shouldn't start Facebook ads right away before you already have a business. So most Facebook ad experts are like, just get started, just get started. I'm one that likes to tell people to pump the brakes, slow it down, make sure you have a product or a service or an offer that is selling first, and then assess whether Facebook ads are right for you. Because if you have a product and let's say 100 people are going on to your email list, but only one of that 100 people are buying, and they're only buying $100, that one person is only buying a product worth $100, that means out of 100 people coming into your email list, that's only $1 in revenue per person. So if you then flipped that and took it over to Facebook ads, you would have to get brand new leads for less than $1. And that's a lot more difficult than it sounds these days, especially with Facebook ad costs rising. So I always like to tell people, pump the brakes. You need to figure out if you can afford Facebook advertising, if it makes sense for your business, and then start thinking strategically about how you're going to take attention and turn it into revenue with your Facebook ads. You feel me?
I do. And, I guess, I do not use Facebook ads. So and it's probably something that I should consider doing, but what would be a bell or a whistle that would alert me as to, I need to be doing this right now. I'm ripe for it, as opposed to maybe a company or a business or a brand that's not quite there yet. Are there certain things about that business or things about their online presence or things about their engagement that are like telltale signs that you need to be doing it right now?
Yeah, definitely. One thing that I see people doing is they start doing Facebook ads before they actually have the capacity to take on new customers. So the question to really ask yourself is, can I make a sale in my business without my direct involvement? If the answer is yes, then ask the second question, is it already selling? And if the answer is yes to that, those are the two indicators that you're ready for Facebook ads. Because if it takes your direct involvement and you just pour more fuel onto the fire and bring yourself more leads, you're going to get bombarded in having to have all these manual sales conversations with people. So if you have it automated where you don't need to personally send an email to make a sale or personally have a conversation to make a sale, and then it's something that already sells, it's time to start thinking about Facebook ads.
So if I have a digital product that is on a website ready for, somebody can go and they can pay for it and download it right now. And I could be, at work at my computer, I can be on the beach or by the pool or wherever I am. That would be a sign then that I've got the kind of business model that it might make sense. On the other hand, if, in order to make the sale, they're going to see the ad, they're going to contact me, then I got to get them on the phone. And then I've got to sell more, if I'm following you correctly.
Yeah.
Then that's not quite right. What if what I was selling was coaching?
Oh, great question. So then I would ask you, do you have some type of systems, even if it is a human touch or a human response or getting on for a discovery call or a consultation up front? Do you have things in place where new traffic isn't going to tank you? So if I give you 100 new people interested in something tomorrow, would your business be able to take that 100 people and figure out if they could become customers? Or would focusing on getting those 100 people the information they need to make a decision to become a customer, if that would bottleneck your business and keep you from actually doing the coaching on the other side of it, it might be time to just slow down and put those processes into place and put those automations into place before you start doubling down on Facebook ads. Because that's a major bottleneck that we see. Then people turn around and they're like, well, our Facebook ads aren't working because they can't keep up with turning those people into customers. And therefore, they're not generating as much revenue as possible that they could if they weren't the only person or the only team member taking people through and turning them into customers.
Very, very interesting. Now, I've got a good question for you. I just want to shout out to a few people in the audience. Thank you for watching. I see that Jay Man's here, Manzarul, Linda Hawley, Brad Friedman, good friend of mine. I think Ross Brand might be here because Brad's saying hi, Ross. Welcome, folks. Feel free to leave your comments and questions, and I'll try to get to them. Amanda, let's say I've got a digital product and I offer some coaching. I'm not doing any Facebook ads at this time. So I've got a quasi business model here. I've got some digital products. They're passive income. I don't have to be anywhere for them to be on the internet sell, and they sell themselves, but I also offer some consultation and whatnot. So I want to do an ad strategy. I would imagine, I'm just going to guess at what you're going to say, and you can take it away, but I imagine that you would probably do an ad strategy that focused on the digital products on its own, and maybe an ad strategy that focused on the consultation on its own rather than trying to do everything in one. But that being said, where would you start with me? What would be your process to get this going? What would be your initial questions for me?
Oh, this is a goodie. And you're absolutely right. I would recommend that you start and you segment each side. So it's like digital product. Let's focus on getting the ad strategy for that one dialed and that one selling on autopilot so that it feels like more passive income. Then once that one's cranking, flip it over and do the coaching, or vice versa. So you just got to prioritize what is the best thing to do for your business. And the type of questions that I'm going to ask you is simply, does it already sell? Do you have those systems and automations in place so that we're not going to break the sales processes that you already have with this more traffic? And then I'm going to help you see that Facebook ads aren't just about scrolling down your phone and seeing a webinar ad from somebody that you've never heard of before and then making a sale, because that's how most marketers do their Facebook ads. I'm going to help you realize that there's 3 different phases that you have to put people through to become customers. And so simply we name them Connect, which is all about branding and growing your retargetable custom audiences. Then there's Commit, which is the lead gen side. That's where most marketers are spending a majority of their time, is just trying to get leads in their pipeline. But then you need the third phase, which is all about Close, and that's sales retargeting. So branding, lead generation, and sales retargeting, Connect, Commit, Close. We need to take a look at your Facebook ads from those 3 different phases, because if you're just doing one of them, your Facebook ads aren't going to work. If you're just putting leads out, webinar leads to cold traffic, and then wondering why after a 45-minute webinar, they're not applying to your high ticket coaching program, well, it's probably because they don't really know who you are or why they should trust you to help them achieve this transformation that you're looking to get together. So it's important to, like I said at the start, zoom out and look at your customer journey from that branding and indoctrination phase through to getting them into your sales process with lead generation, and then nurturing them through to make a purchase decision. Because you don't want to just stop talking to them in the newsfeed or on Instagram with your ads after they sign up for your webinar. You want to keep serving them up information so that they can make an educated decision, because we can't really hope people are opening every single email these days, because email open rates are going down and the inbox is getting noisier, right? So it's important to have those 3 phases, to understand how ads work at each of those phases, and then measure the results of each of those phases along the way. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I think so. Now, one thing that I know a lot of people talk about when they talk about Facebook advertising or just advertising in general is the cost. It's probably, when you take on a new client, one of the first things and one of the biggest questions they have, and something that probably they're going to talk about a lot through the process, is the cost of Facebook ads, because advertising can get very, very expensive. And people, of course, want to go straight from paying their first dollar or their first $100 or the first $1,000 to making it back as quickly as possible. So, what do you say to the people that are really tuned in on the costs, as far as, how expensive Facebook is? I'm sure this answer you could talk about for days, but I'm just going to turn it over before I make the question too convoluted and crazy. But for people that are, price conscious, and people that are, they're wanting to get the most bang for their buck, what can you tell them?
Well, let's face it, Facebook costs are going to continue to rise, right? Like they between Facebook and Google, somebody was telling me the other day that they own 75% of the marketing in the United States. So like that is massive amount of dollars passing through their platform. And the cost, the CPMs, the cost to get in front of 1,000 people in terms of serving up ad impressions is just going to keep going up. So it is a major concern for people. And so I like to think of it one of 2 ways. So I like to think some people look at their Facebook advertising in really scarcity-based thinking, while the other people are looking in more abundant, expansive thinking. And so what that looks like is the first group that are thinking of Facebook ads in a scarcity play is they're so focused on the cost per lead. They want to get the cheapest leads possible into their sales funnels so that they can turn those people into customers. So they're looking for $1 leads, $2 leads, when the market might be saying, hey, for your audience, it's $5 leads, it's $20 leads. So if they're playing that scarcity game, you can only take $2 down by so much before you can't get your ad costs down any lower. But on the flip side, if you think more expansively with your Facebook ads and you focus on your earnings per lead, that means the revenue that you generate divided by the number of new leads coming into your sales pipeline. If you focus on that number is more expansive. Like your earnings per lead could be $1, but it also could be $10 or it could be $20. Or in some cases, especially with digital training programs, your earnings per lead could be upwards of $50, $60, $100. So when you see, hey, each time a new lead comes into my pipeline, they're worth $100 to my business. It's so much easier to justify spending $10 per lead on the flip side than just focusing on how cheap you can get those leads for, because you're not thinking of the positive upside that it has to the business. Of course, the caveat is like you have to have a good earnings per lead, because if you're bringing people into your sales process and you're only making 50 cents per lead, well, you're going to have a heck of a time being profitable with your Facebook ads, because 50-cent leads just don't happen like they used to these days. And so it's just really important to think, what is my lifetime customer value? How much are these people, or like how much is a lead worth to my business? And really focusing on increasing that number, focusing on your sales page, your offers, converting more people, communicating the value of what you do. The stronger your offer is, the easier it's going to be to do Facebook advertising.
Yeah, I mean, I've sat in, I think, I don't remember who it was, but I sat in at a conference at Vid Summit, and there were some people there that have really gotten good at Facebook advertising, and they were spending on a yearly basis $500,000, $1 million a year on advertising, but they were bringing in so much more. And it, when you hear the numbers on how much they spend on advertising, it's like, my goodness. And that's an upfront cost too. I mean, that's something that you have to pay for probably at the end of 30 days, I would think. And it might not all, it's not coming in during that 30 days necessarily. But if you're bringing in 2 or 3, 4 times or more greater than what you're spending, then it makes total sense. But a lot of people out there who are thinking about Facebook advertising can't really look at it that way, can they?
No, I mean, they're so conditioned to just look for the cheapest leads. They're so conditioned for that immediate right now result, because it takes faith to just invest in your advertising. It takes faith in your sales process and your sales funnel. And if you don't have that yet, but you're thinking Facebook ads are going to be the magic bullet, like that's a stressful situation to put yourself in, right? Like once you know things convert, once you know things sell and how well they sell, it's so easy to make ad buying decisions. But most people aren't at that place in their business, especially newer entrepreneurs. And so I always encourage people to spend more time on engaging with your audience organically up front. Because when you learn how to have sales conversations one-to-one, or when you're talking about your product or your coaching or your service or your membership in Messenger, you hear things from your audience that you would have never heard just putting a Facebook ad out there to a webinar, right? Like you understand their hesitations, you understand their pain points, you understand the transformation that they're trying to make. And that just serves as more information that you can put into your ads to help people make a buying decision. So I'm a huge advocate for organically engaging with your audience, not only because it gives you that insight, but over the long term, it lowers your Facebook ad costs, because anyone that engages with your Facebook page or your Instagram business profile is retargetable, which means you can put ads in front of them after they've organically just conversed with this page. So in our example, the live stream today, BeLive could then turn around and say, hey, we're going to serve up an ad to anyone who watched this live stream. And the people on the live stream have now heard us say the brand name multiple times. So they have a better know, like, and trust factor, and they're going to get better Facebook advertising results along the way. So there's some really cool things that you can do before ever spending $1 to grow those audiences, so that when you do go to do Facebook ads, you're going to get way better results, and you're going to understand your audience so much more than if you just like hit the go or just hit boost, which I never recommend.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I totally agree with what you're saying. And, another thing too, though, not just the price is something that concerns people, but the duration or the length of the campaign or campaigns. How long do people, what should they expect to start seeing results? I mean, I know that we live in society. I think really it's everybody on earth that's in the tech world, particularly has internet, is part of the consumer culture. We want to be able to slap down our money and get an instant result.
Yeah.
Just like that. We push a button on the remote, it changes the channel immediately. We swipe our card, we fill our gas tank. I mean, everything is immediate, but advertising is one of those things, one of those rare things in our business that is not immediate. So I'm sure that a lot of your clients through the years, and you probably had to learn this yourself when you got started, is, what's a reasonable expectation here? And I know that would vary between businesses and brands and what you're doing. But, maybe average it out. I mean, what should people truly expect? 6 months, a year?
Great question. And when I first started, and remember, I do this every single day. When I first started, that timeline was about 6 months. It took us 6 months to truly dial everything in, to test, to see what's working, to see what's getting return on your ad spend, which is called ROAS. Like, it took time to get people through your sales process, to put thousands of people into the pipeline and see what happened. Now, after doing it for years, we've shortened that timeline to about half. So we can do that full process from 0 to 100 in about 90 days now, because it does take time to set up the ads, to test it, to see which ones are working the best, to optimize and improve along the way. But there are those instances where you might be selling an e-commerce product or a physical product where the results are immediate. It just depends on the industry that you're in. But no, the longer that you're in the trenches, the more you're testing something, the more you're going to be able to take the data that comes from that testing and make better decisions for it in the future. So, it could be possible that somebody brand new comes into your awareness and becomes a customer on day one. Is that likely if you're brand new to selling with Facebook ads? Not necessarily. I mean, heck, even my own digital program, we've been a year in the beta phase of really dialing in and getting things optimized. And reminder, I do this on the daily. So be patient with yourself in this process. Set your budget accordingly. If you're like, hey, Bond, all I have is like $5 a day to start where you're at, but make sure that you have that strategy to move people through connect, commit, close, branding, lead generation, and sales retargeting. Because if you're not doing all three of those things, you're going to have a leaky bucket. And what I mean is, like, if you have this bucket, let's use this glass, for example, and there's a bunch of holes in it, all of this water is going to start pouring out the bottom. So think of that like your sales page. You have 100 visitors come to your sales page, and if there's holes, they're just going to fall out the bottom. Maybe one person buys, maybe two people buy. But if you have all three of those phases of ads, you're patching up those holes, and you're going to be able to keep more customers, aka you're going to be able to make more revenue from the exact same amount of effort with your Facebook ads along the way.
Awesome. Now, Jay, we got an audience member, Jay Man. Jay Man says he's hitting the 5 month timeline right now, and it's so much fun as you grow. And Jay, you're welcome to leave some comments as to why it's fun, specifically what makes it fun. But Amanda, what makes doing these fun? What, as you're 5-6 months into this thing, I imagine you're dialing in your ads and you're starting to see results, and that's what makes it fun. I mean, we can come to some reasonable conclusions here, but you have done this a lot. I mean, what really makes it fun? What do you see when you're doing these campaigns, that really starts, it's like, wow, this is really happening now?
I like to call it Command R. So on a Mac, when you refresh your screen, you hit Command plus the R button and it refreshes. So you get to a point where each time you refresh, your results are showing. And it's because you did all the upfront work. You've put in the leads ahead of time. You're warming them up. You're helping them make purchase decisions. And now you're seeing that momentum of the sales results. In fact, with one of my very own clients this week, they are doing a pre-sale for their physical product. And we have sold $150,000 in the physical product for about $20,000 in ad spend. And that means we're making about $20,000 a day. So each time you Command R, it's a new number. And when your product or service changes lives and you know that it makes an impact, that's exciting, because think of the ripple effect that's happening. You're getting your offer out to other people, which is then going to touch and impact their lives, which they're going to then touch and impact other people's lives. That's a really fun game to play.
Right. Well, and I imagine too, when you're helping clients with their ad campaign and you've gotten them through the pricing and you've gotten them through the duration, and now you're starting to see the look in their face like, oh, wow, this is really working.
Yeah.
What a great decision I made to do this 5-6 months ago. It's happening.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, though, we tend to forget all of the steps that went into that beforehand. The people that get the most success in business aren't brand new entrepreneurs that just started yesterday. Of course, there's always instances where that does happen, but it's the people who have showed up and they've put in the work for years, sometimes decades, to get to a certain point. But once they hit that momentum, oh my gosh, it's a feeling like none other to see that happen, to see the team light up, to see the results happen, to hear the student testimonials. Like, I live for that. That's my true ROI of advertising, is really seeing how people are impacted by what we're doing out there with Facebook ads.
Jason's got a question here. How can I use my pre-recorded videos for my ad campaigns?
Oh, I get so ninja with this. Okay,
cool.
So what I like to use in a lot of my Facebook advertising is what I call dynamic ad sequences. So what that means is a user is going to take a certain action, and then that's going to trigger off a sequence of Facebook ads. So if you're the advertiser that puts up the ads, you don't have to constantly be like switching ads out because they're fatiguing and getting tired and stopping working. What you're going to do is use video. It could be live stream. It could be pre-recorded. It could be you with slides doing a voiceover, teaching people or showing your product in use. But you can create ads from those videos of people that watched at least 3 seconds of that video. So in your timeline, people are scrolling down. They see your pre-recorded video. They see that. It could just be organically or as an ad, and they watch 3 seconds of it. So we can then tell Facebook, hey, that person watched that video. Now let's target them with some ads because they took that action. So dynamically, it's like an if this, then that. If that person watched 3 seconds, send them this video. If they didn't and they scrolled by, that's okay. We won't advertise to them just yet. So video is one of the most powerful things that you can do with Facebook advertising. It's really undervalued as an ad creative. The cost to get people to watch your videos is extremely cheap. So if you are thinking about your ad costs, I don't advocate for always trying to get the lowest, but in the case of videos, you can do some really cool things with targeting, and it's cheaper than some other ad formats.
So before Jason asked that question, my next question for you was going to be, static ad, like a thumbnail type or video. And I think the answer is video, but go ahead and take it away. What are your thoughts?
I believe that it's video. I always personally see the best results for myself and for our clients with video. But I am an advocate of just making sure that you test everything anyways, because you never know if that right-hand column placement is suddenly going to outperform your videos like crazy, which I believe it's happened one time to me with a client. And I was like, wait, your right-hand column ads are getting the best results. But that does happen. So I always like to recommend test to make sure that that's true for your audience as well. There is no laws in Facebook advertising of like, you have to use this format, but video is powerful because it's an extension of the copy in your ad, right? Like you can tell a story in it. If you throw captions on your pre-recorded videos, people, like maybe it's a mom who is putting her baby down to sleep and she's watching a video on her phone and doesn't want to turn on sound, well, she can continue to read the captions on your video to go deeper with your brand on video. So, I mean, I'm a big advocate for it, but I also believe in just testing to make sure that's true for your audience as well.
So I've got another video related question, and mainly because the crowd that watches Owen videos, I would imagine they're creators themselves. They probably are, they create their own videos. Maybe some of them do live streaming. Maybe some of them are doing, high level editing productions where there's a lot of jump cuts and cool features. And so when you're putting together your video ads, I imagine you've done this, when you're putting together video ads, do you need a lot of movement? Do you need a lot of jump cuts? Can talking head videos work? What are your thoughts on the type of videos that you're creating? What's really going to work for you?
I always say whatever you're best at. So whatever your brand shines with, maybe you're really good in like post-production and your videos are just really professional. Roll with that. Maybe you are a live streamer and you're better on the fly. That's how you personally shine. Show up in that way and have fun with it. Like, let your personality shine through. I love the fact of a live stream show amplified with Facebook ads. So like you do your live stream every week and then you amplify it to cold audiences. So people that don't know you, you're going to use some lookalikes and target people that are similar to people that have purchased your program or your offer in the past and get that live stream out to them. But then do that ninja tip where I was saying you're going to retarget people who watch at least 3 seconds with the video with maybe another pre-recorded follow-up video afterwards that starts to educate people not only on your live stream show, but the product or the service that you have that lets them go deeper with you or your brand. So you can do that in video form. If you had lead magnets or freebies or downloadables, retargeting the people that watch your weekly live stream or your weekly pre-recorded show that you release on Facebook, doing that and then retargeting people to take the next step with your business. We did that for a client. We had a live stream show for about 6 months where every single week we retargeted them with specific offers that were talked about in the live stream show. And the results were just absolutely amazing. It grew their membership community like crazy because they connected with the people in the live stream, aka they branded them at that point. Then they got them to make a commitment to the brand. They did the lead generation by targeting those live stream viewers. And then once they were informed about the product or service, they did that close phase of Facebook ads and got them in with sales retargeting. So the live stream show directly correlated to revenue in the business just because they set up a sequence of ads to take them there.
Very interesting. How did you get started with Facebook ads? Let's kind of dial it back to the bio a little bit, and just because it seems like if I were wanting to do this myself and learn from scratch from the ground up, I'm overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even know where to begin. So, I mean, how did you get into this? And maybe what are some tips that you could provide the audience that if they're going to get started with Facebook ads today, and we've kind of covered it already, but maybe 2 or 3 tips neatly served up that kind of tell them this is where you really want to start.
Yeah, great question. I started actually as a freelance social media manager. So I hated reporting to my clients. We got X number of impressions, aka vanity metrics each week. And they would ask me, okay, cool, but like, how did that turn into revenue? Like, how did that affect our bottom line? And back then, years ago, I didn't have an answer for that. So it was me just going through this rabbit hole of figuring out how to use Facebook ads, from boosting posts to $1 a day to now spending hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars in ads. It was a process. So like, I always hate when people promise, overnight success to get to that point. It took me years. So I do want to just let people know that that was a process in and of itself. But some recommended tips that I have for people is to slow down, right? Exactly what we started with. Slow down, zoom out, and ask yourself, what do you want to accomplish with Facebook ads? And then see if your business is ready for that. Because most people just jump into Facebook advertising before they're ready, and they get so bogged down in like the technical aspects of it. And they create ads that are in a silo. I actually like to call them accidental ads. Like somebody will publish a new post on how to create this really cool new ad format. And then business owners will take that, they'll follow it step by step. And they're like, cool, I have this carousel ad, but it's not doing anything. So stop learning about ads in a silo and start following people who are very strategic and are able to simplify the process. Like once you have it mapped out on, I'm a big clipboard fan. So like once you have it mapped out on a clipboard, really visually, and you understand what is the purpose of each and every ad, then go figure out how to bring it to life, because it's so much easier to have that vision of what you want to create and then learn how to create it than being like, I want to sell more via Facebook ads. And then you get lost in the minutia. You get lost in that like technicality. So pump the brakes, ask yourself, am I ready for Facebook ads? If you are, start mapping out what you want it to look like, and then seek information after you've made that decision of what you want it to look like. Don't complicate it before like you get good at it. Just keep it super simple and make sure you have something that sells. I always go back to that, because if you don't have something to sell or that sells, you're just going to amplify what's already broken in your business. So it's okay to take time and do it, right?
Yep. Keep it simple, folks. The KISS formula.
Yes.
It pretty much applies to everything in life.
Yep.
So are you ready for the hot seat? Owen's got the hot seat, and we're going to ask you some random questions.
Am I ready for this?
You ready?
I guess.
All right. What, mountains or beach?
Oh.
The mountains or the beach? What's your preference there?
I love a beach view, but I don't like sand. So I'm definitely going to go with mountains.
You don't like sand? What's there not to like about sand? Let's just expand on this a little bit.
So I lived in Playa del Carmen, Mexico for 7 months a few years ago. And I lived 3 blocks from the beach. And I can count on one hand the number of times that I made it down to the beach that year. The dream of doing the laptop lifestyle from the beach, like, guys, it's really sandy down there. Like, computers don't go well down there.
They don't. Favorite color?
Favorite color. I'm a big coral fan, but I also love like neutral folly colors. As you can tell we just painted the background over here and the office in the back with some really fun neutral colors. Okay.
Favorite music?
Oh, favorite music. I like 90s, like grunge music.
I'm with you there.
Nice.
90s rock.
Yeah, absolute. Lithium on Sirius XM. Best channel.
You know what? We're there together. Who do you like to hear?
I like the cheesy, poppy, grungy bands. Like I like those like Blues Traveler, where you're like, wait a minute, that's not really grunge, but it's not like, poppy like Spice Girls. So yeah, I just outed myself there. Sorry, guys. I
saw Blues Traveler in concert when I moved to Southern California 20 years ago. Amazing. We went out on Halloween and we went up to Hollywood. We went to Whiskey A Go-Go and it said special guest $25. They wouldn't tell us who the special guest was.
Amazing.
It was Blues Traveler, and the place was pretty much dead. And John Popper comes out, and he was big and heavy then. He had Kiss. He was dressed up like Gene Simmons or something. It was before he lost all his weight. It was the most awesome thing to see him on stage with the harmonica and hardly anyone in there.
Oh my! Was it an amazing time?
It was awesome. It was a great way to come in, to drive into town, into Southern California, where I was going to live and go to law school. And we go into it's a special guest, and it could have been anybody, and it's Blues Traveler.
I love it.
Mind blowing. So coffee or tea?
Coffee, hands down. 4-shot macadamia nut latte every day.
All right. I can't contribute to that one because I don't drink coffee or tea.
Ooh, what's your choice?
I drink water, and I don't even really drink Diet Coke unless I'm in a restaurant or they serve me Diet Pepsi. Dogs or cats? As a matter of fact, as I go into this question about dogs or cats, think of your answer real quick. Folks, if you saw me during the broadcast looking around the desk like I was wondering what the heck's going on in my office here. I apologize. Ordinarily, I would not be doing that during a live broadcast, but I have an 8-week old Shih Tzu that is somewhere under my desk, and I couldn't get her in the cage before the broadcast without her barking. So I've been trying to monitor her. So as I look around my office, it's a dog that I'm wondering where she is. So dogs or cats?
It used to be cats growing up, but now it's definitely dogs. I love me a good puppers.
So do you have a dog?
I do, actually. I adopted her when I was living in Mexico. So her name's Vaca, which means, well, vaca means cow in Spanish. And my boyfriend's family is Serbian. And so I learned Vaca also means grandma. So I have a grandma cow as my dog.
Nice. I have a Shih Tzu and its name's Sky.
Oh, and it's so cute.
I showed it to her before the broadcast, folks. She's not in reaching distance right now, or I'd put her up in the screen and show you. Best joke you know by heart.
Oh my gosh. I actually don't know any jokes. I'm the worst at remembering jokes, but my dad is the king of jokes. Like, he just knows all those corny dad jokes. So I always push it off to him. I'm like, here. And then I grab my dad and be like, he'll tell you the joke. So I got nothing.
You got nothing.
I got nothing.
I don't remember jokes either. The only ones I remember, I don't think I could do them on Owen's broadcast. I wouldn't do them on my own broadcast.
Fair. I like ranty little jokes, like industry specific jokes or like Facebook ad jokes. Like, those get me every single time.
So you don't have a Facebook ad joke that you can spring on us real quick?
No, but I just saw the most amazing meme the other day. Oh my gosh, it slayed me. So you know that meme where it's a couple and they're lying in bed and the wife is like looking towards the other way and she's like, he must be thinking of other women. And then it's always like a gentleman with the weirdest thoughts in his head. And there's some ads out there that are like Facebook ad jokes, like, I wonder what the CPMs are, like really nerdy jokes. But this time it was that same meme of the couple in bed. And the man was thinking, what was he thinking? He goes, when I breathe out, or when I go, how come it's warm air? And when I go, how come it's cold air? And I just died laughing because immediately after I saw the meme, I did that. I was like, it's hot. Oh, it's cold. And so I was like, you got me, meme. You got me good.
Nice. Well, Amanda, do you go to conferences? You know, where, if people wanted to find you at shows, I imagine you might do Social Media Marketing World, seeing as how you work with Social Media Examiner. I mean, where can people go to find you if they wanted to meet you in person?
Oh, great question. So, fun fact, I'm actually a mad introvert. So I have my extroverted personality, but then once I get offline, I'm like, let me cozy up with a little blankie and a book. But when I go to conferences, I love going to places like Social Media Marketing World. I'll be at Inbound, HubSpot's conference in September. Sometimes I frequent TNC and Funnel Hacking Live. I'm always on the lookout for a really great new conference because I just love meeting people in person. And that's where all the best strategies and ideas come from anyways, not just sitting behind our computers every single day. It's really getting out and like building relationships, real life, networking, messenger, like wherever it is, it's just having those conversations and getting out of your own head sometimes.
Well, and you're in Toronto, which is a fabulous city. Are there any great conventions that happen in Toronto that are social media, any of that? Digital marketing?
Last year, actually, I'll be going to this one in September. In September, Giovanni, I'm blanking on his last name right now. He hosts an event called Archangel Summit. And I believe that Brendan Burchard is headlining it. Last year, they had Robin Sharma and Gary Vaynerchuk. And so it's going to be quite a who's who conference here in Toronto. And so that one's coming up in September. I'll try and find the link and post it in the comments for everyone afterwards. Nice.
I was going to ask you if you can put the meme in the comments.
I'll try and find it. Oh my God, I'll die laughing in the meantime.
There you go. So Amanda, where can people find you if they want to know more about you, what you do and your services online? Where do you social media, where do you like to be found and your website?
Absolutely. Well, you can come visit me at the website, theadstrategist.com. I definitely spend a lot of time over on my Facebook page, though. That's where I do most of my live streams and engagement. So come hang with me there at facebook.com/the ad strategist, same as the website.
Great looking website. I see that we've got it up on the screen, folks. Ordinarily, I produce my own show, so I feel like I'm flying blind a little bit today. It's been a lot of fun though, since we've got a production team in the background that's doing the work for us. But Amanda, your website looks fantastic.
Well,
it looks informative, and it certainly has me thinking, because I know from talking to people and attending conferences and hearing people speak, the power of Facebook ads is insane. But you've really got to know what you're doing. And if you don't, working with somebody like you can really eliminate a lot of time, frustration, expenditures that are wasted. I mean, it really could behoove somebody who's wanting to do it and has the budget to work with a professional and get it going the right way from the start, so that they're not having to unravel a mess and spending money on something that didn't work.
Absolutely.
Folks, thank you for joining today. Thanks for all the participation in the audience. Amanda, it's great meeting you. I just got to know you this weekend when I agreed to sit in for my friend Owen. And, I think what you're doing is great. And you may be hearing from me at some point, quite honestly.
Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. And you were just perfect rolling with it on the fly. So it was a pleasure to be your guest as you host today.
Well, thank you. And a big thank you to the production team. Again, a thank you to the audience, Jay Mann, Jake Sevier, Carlos Phoenix, let's see here, Dino Cummings, Bonnie Vent, and others I've called out. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you, Owen Video. I want to just say to Owen, my friend Owen Hemsath, that thank you so much for considering me to host your show while you were out of town. It means a lot to me that you trusted me in your seat to put on a good show, to ask questions and entertain. And it's just been a great pleasure and an honor to be here. And thank you to Owen's production team for getting me going and making sure this all went smoothly. And again, thank you to Amanda for your time today, being on Owen's show to talk about what you do and the magic that you work on Facebook. Folks, thank you so much for joining in. Leave comments, questions below. Either I or Owen or his team, we'll all be monitoring them, and we will respond to everybody, later as the video matures on Facebook. Take care, folks. Have a great day.